Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving deep into something that's been generating a lot of buzz: offshore asset protection.
Yeah.
We're talking about protecting your retirement savings
Yeah.
in ways you might not have even thought of before.
Right.
We've got excerpts from an article titled "What to Know About Offshore Asset Protection Strategies."
Okay.
Some of this stuff really challenges how we think about traditional retirement planning.
You're absolutely right. This goes beyond just stocks and bonds.
Yeah.
We're going to look at why those might not be enough anymore,
Okay.
especially for those nearing retirement or already enjoying it.
So the article starts by talking about diversification.
Right.
They use this analogy of spreading your eggs in multiple baskets.
Yeah, classic analogy. But it still holds up.
You wouldn't put all your eggs in one basket, right?
Yeah, definitely not.
And that's where things get interesting for those looking beyond traditional retirement strategies.
You see, during the 2008 financial crisis, for example, uh, while the S&P 500 plummeted over 38%,
Oh, wow.
gold actually increased in value by over 4%.
Really?
That's the kind of stability that can make a huge difference in protecting your nest egg.
That's a compelling point.
Yeah,
It makes you think twice about where you're putting your money, especially for the long term.
definitely.
The article highlights gold IRAs as a way to diversify and protect against economic uncertainty.
Mm.
But before we get into the specifics,
Sure.
can you explain what a gold IRA actually is?
Imagine having control over your IRA and choosing to invest in, well, tangible assets
Okay.
like gold bars instead of relying solely on the stock market.
Okay.
That's the power of a self-directed gold IRA.
Yeah.
It's essentially an IRA that allows you to hold physical precious metals, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, instead of the usual stocks or bonds.
Okay, so instead of investing in companies, you're actually buying physical gold.
Exactly.
That does feel
Yeah.
more tangible, more real.
It is.
But
Yeah.
doesn't that create logistical challenges? I
Yeah.
mean, where do you even keep the gold?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's not like you're storing gold bars under your mattress.
Right.
With a gold IRA, your precious metals are stored in an IRS-approved depository.
Oh, okay.
And here's where the offshore element comes in.
Okay.
Some people choose to have their gold stored outside the United States.
That's intriguing. But wouldn't that make it harder to access if you needed it? What are the advantages of going offshore?
Storing your gold overseas, especially with an international custodian,
Yeah.
can provide an added layer of protection
Okay.
against, potential U.S.-specific risks like financial crises or certain legal issues.
I see.
It's like having a backup plan for your backup plan.
So it's about adding another layer of security and potentially diversifying the risks
Exactly.
associated with keeping all your assets within a single country.
Right.
The article also mentions some real-life cases,
Mhm.
like John and Susan, who used gold IRAs as part of their retirement plans.
Right. John was looking to safeguard a portion of his portfolio against market volatility.
Okay.
And Susan was more concerned about protecting her savings from inflation.
Oh, okay.
Their stories really illustrate how gold IRAs can be tailored to different needs and concerns.
That's pretty interesting. It shows that gold IRAs aren't just a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
But let's get back to this idea of offshore asset protection.
Sure.
What exactly does that entail?
Oh.
And why would someone choose this route?
It's a strategy that involves placing assets in jurisdictions outside of one's home country.
Oh, okay.
This can offer a range of potential benefits,
Okay.
depending on individual circumstances.
Okay.
For some, it's about seeking a more stable political and economic environment.
Yeah, that makes sense.
For others, it might be about diversifying legal risks or taking advantage of tax efficiencies offered in certain jurisdictions.
That makes sense. But I have to ask,
Yeah.
wouldn't this involve a lot of complexity
Wow.
and potentially higher fees?
Well,
It can't. Is it even something accessible to the average person?
those are valid concerns. Setting up offshore structures can involve more complexity than traditional domestic investments,
Right.
and there are definitely costs involved.
Okay.
It's crucial to work with experienced professionals who specialize in this area
Okay.
and to carefully weigh the potential benefits against the added costs and complexities.
So it's not a decision to be taken lightly.
Right.
It sounds like it requires careful consideration and due diligence.
It does.
But the article also emphasizes the importance of understanding the potential risks and misconceptions surrounding gold IRAs.
Absolutely. One common misconception is that gold IRAs are unregulated.
Oh.
This is simply not true. They are subject to the same IRS rules and regulations as traditional IRAs.
Okay.
So you have the same level of oversight and protection.
That's reassuring to hear. But what about the concern that gold IRAs are too expensive?
While there are fees involved, like with any investment, it's important to remember that the long-term benefits can often outweigh those costs,
Okay.
especially when you consider the peace of mind it can provide.
It's like that old saying, you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
But I think a lot of people also worry about scams,
Oh, for sure.
especially when it comes to something as valuable as gold.
That's a very valid point.
Yeah.
And it's something the article addresses directly. Unfortunately, there are unethical companies out there
Yeah.
who prey on people's fears and lack of knowledge.
Okay.
They might use high-pressure sales tactics,
Right.
make unrealistic promises,
Yeah.
or even try to sell overpriced gold.
So how can listeners protect themselves from these kinds of scams?
The key is to be informed and do your research.
Okay.
The Better Business Bureau, BBB, and the Business Consumer Alliance, BCA, are great resources
Okay.
for checking a company's reputation and customer satisfaction ratings.
I got it.
Look for a provider with a long history of success, positive reviews, and transparent fee structures.
Okay, so transparency is key. But how can you tell if a company is being truly transparent or just hiding things in the fine print?
That's where asking the right questions comes in. Don't be afraid to ask about their fees in detail,
Okay.
how they source their gold,
Mm.
and what security measures they have in place for storage. A reputable provider will be happy to answer your questions openly and honestly.
That's great advice. So it's not just about choosing a company with a flashy website or a big marketing budget.
Right.
It's about digging deeper and doing your due diligence.
Exactly. Your retirement savings are precious, and you deserve to work with a provider who you can trust and who has your best interests at heart.
That makes a lot of sense. So we've talked about the potential benefits of gold IRAs,
Mhm.
especially when combined with offshore asset protection.
Right.
And we've also touched on the importance of avoiding scams.
Yeah.
But how does someone actually go about choosing the right gold IRA provider?
Yeah, that's the big question.
What are the key factors to consider?
That's a crucial question, and it's something we'll explore in more detail in the next part of our deep dive.
Yep.
We'll break down the essential criteria for evaluating providers
Okay.
and how to make an informed decision that aligns with your specific goals and risk tolerance.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Welcome back. We've been unpacking the idea of gold IRAs and offshore asset protection.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I'm starting to see why this is catching on as a retirement strategy.
Definitely.
But as you mentioned before, choosing the right provider is crucial.
It is, yeah.
Where do we even begin with that?
You're absolutely right. The provider can make or break your experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's like choosing a builder for your dream home, you know?
Right.
You wouldn't just go with the cheapest option without checking their credentials.
Definitely not.
Right.
So what are the must-haves when it comes to a gold IRA provider? What are those red flags we should watch out for?
First and foremost, reputation is key. You want a provider with a proven track record, ideally a long history of satisfied clients.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it this way. If they've been around for a while and people are still choosing them,
Right.
that's a good sign they're doing something right.
That makes sense. What else should we be looking at? The article mentioned fees,
Right.
but doesn't every investment have fees? How do we know what's reasonable?
Transparency is crucial here.
Yeah.
A reputable provider will be upfront about all their fees.
Okay.
No hidden costs or
Right.
surprises down the line.
Okay.
They should clearly outline what you're paying for,
Yeah.
whether it's account setup, storage, or transaction fees. Don't be afraid to shop around and compare different providers
Okay.
to get a sense of what's standard in the industry.
So it's like comparing apples to apples, like
Exactly.
making sure you're getting a fair deal. But what about the actual gold? How can you be sure you're getting the real deal and not some counterfeit?
That's where custodianship comes into play.
Okay.
A trustworthy provider will work with IRS-approved custodians to manage your IRA
Okay.
and ensure your gold is stored in a secure IRS-approved depository.
Okay.
These depositories are subject to strict regulations and auditing,
Got it.
so you can have confidence in the safety and authenticity of your precious metals.
Okay, so it's not just about the provider themselves, but also the partners they work with
Right.
for custody and storage. It's
Yeah.
about that whole chain of security and trust.
It is, yeah.
But let's say someone is totally new to all of this. How can a provider help them navigate this new world of gold IRAs?
That's where educational support becomes crucial. A good provider won't just sell you a product and send you on your way.
Right.
They should be invested in your success and offer ongoing support,
Okay.
whether it's through educational resources, one-on-one consultations,
Hmm.
or market updates.
It's like having a guide in a new city.
Yeah.
They can point you in the right direction, help you avoid the tourist traps, and ensure you have a smooth and enjoyable experience. The article also touched on the idea of rollovers. Can you explain that a bit more? Can you transfer an existing retirement account into a gold IRA?
Absolutely. It's called a rollover,
Okay.
and it's a common way to move funds from a traditional IRA or 401k into a gold IRA without incurring taxes or penalties.
Okay.
The process usually involves working with your chosen gold IRA provider and a custodian specializing in precious metals.
So it's not about starting from scratch. You can leverage your existing retirement savings
Exactly.
to create a more diversified portfolio that includes precious metals.
Right.
That's a pretty powerful option to have.
It is, yeah.
But I think a lot of people still associate gold with this old-fashioned image of treasure chests and pirate booty.
Right.
Is it really a relevant investment in today's digital world?
That's an interesting point. While gold has been a store of value for centuries, it's certainly not stuck in the past.
Okay.
In fact, it's often seen as a hedge against inflation, especially in times of economic uncertainty.
Mm.
And with the rise of digital currencies and online trading platforms, investing in gold has become more accessible than ever before.
That's true. We've seen how quickly things can change in the financial world,
Yeah.
and having something tangible like gold
Right.
can offer a sense of stability. But what about those who say gold doesn't generate income, like stocks or bonds? Is there any truth to that?
While gold itself doesn't pay dividends or interest,
Okay.
its value can fluctuate based on market conditions.
Okay.
Historically, it's tended to hold its value or even appreciate during times when other assets, like stocks, are declining.
Mm-hmm.
So while it might not provide regular income,
Okay.
it can act as a powerful tool for capital preservation and potential growth.
It's like having a safety net,
Exactly.
something to cushion the fall when the market takes a tumble. But how much gold should someone have in their portfolio? Is there a magic percentage?
There's no one-size-fits-all answer to that question. The optimal allocation for gold depends on individual circumstances, risk tolerance, and investment goals. Some financial advisors recommend allocating anywhere from 5% to 15% of a portfolio to precious metals as part of a diversified strategy.
So it's about finding that balance, that
Yeah.
sweet spot that aligns with your individual needs and comfort levels.
Exactly.
But what about the other precious metals mentioned in the article?
Yeah.
Do they play a role in gold IRAs as well?
Absolutely. While gold is the most popular choice,
Okay.
you can also invest in silver, platinum, and palladium through a gold IRA.
Okay.
Each of these metals has its own unique properties and potential for growth.
Okay.
For example, silver is often seen as a more affordable option,
Mm-hmm.
while platinum and palladium have industrial applications that can drive their demand.
So it's not just about diversifying within a gold IRA,
Right.
but also diversifying your precious metals holdings themselves.
Exactly.
It adds yet another layer of protection and potential growth.
It does, yeah.
But I have to ask, what about selling your gold? How does that work with a gold IRA?
When you reach retirement age, you can choose to take distributions from your gold IRA, just like with a traditional IRA.
Oh, okay.
You can either receive physical gold or have it liquidated and receive the cash equivalent. The proceeds are taxed as ordinary income in the year you receive them.
Okay, so it's similar to a traditional IRA in that sense, but I'm curious, can you ever withdraw the physical gold before retirement?
While it's technically possible to take physical possession of your gold before retirement age,
Okay.
it's generally not recommended. Doing so would trigger a taxable event and potentially incur penalties,
Got it.
similar to early withdrawals from a traditional IRA.
So it's best to treat it as a long-term investment
Yeah.
and resist the temptation to cash out early. But what about those who are only in retirement?
Right.
Can they still benefit from a gold IRA?
Absolutely. It's never too late to diversify your retirement portfolio
Okay.
and protect your savings from potential risks, even if you're already retired. You can still roll over funds from an existing IRA or 401k
Yeah.
into a gold IRA. It's a way to potentially enhance your retirement income stream
Okay.
and create a more stable financial future.
That's encouraging to hear. It means that even those who are already retired have options for adjusting their portfolios and
Exactly.
seeking out greater security. But we've talked a lot about the potential benefits of gold IRAs. What are some of the potential downsides or things people should be aware of before jumping in?
That's a great question. It's important to go into any investment with a balanced perspective.
Mm-hmm.
One thing to consider is that the price of gold, like any commodity, can fluctuate.
Right.
While it's historically held its value well,
Right.
there's no guarantee that it will continue to do so in the future.
So it's not a foolproof system,
Right.
but more of a long-term strategy for hedging against potential risks.
Exactly.
What are some other factors to keep in mind?
Storage fees are another consideration. While the gold is held in a secure depository, there are costs associated with maintaining that security and insurance.
Okay.
These fees can vary
Yeah.
depending on the provider and the amount of gold you're storing.
Okay, so it's another factor to consider when comparing providers. Are there any other potential drawbacks?
One thing to keep in mind is that gold doesn't generate passive income,
Okay.
like dividends or interest.
Right.
So if you're relying on your retirement savings for regular income, you'll need to factor that in
Right.
and potentially diversify your portfolio with other income-generating assets.
That's a good point. It's all about creating a balanced portfolio
Right.
that meets your specific needs and goals. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive,
Yeah.
from the basics of gold IRAs and offshore asset protection to the importance of choosing the right provider and understanding the potential risks and benefits.
It's a lot to consider.
Welcome back to the deep dive. I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but I'm feeling a lot more informed about gold IRAs and offshore asset protection than when we started. We've covered a lot of ground, from diversification and inflation hedging to the nitty-gritty of choosing a provider and understanding the potential risks.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's try to distill all this information into something actionable. If someone listening is thinking, okay, this gold IRA stuff sounds interesting, but where do I even begin?
Yeah.
What's that one crucial first step they should take?
That's a fantastic question. I'd say it all starts with understanding your why.
Okay.
Why are you even considering a gold IRA?
Yeah.
What are you hoping to achieve?
Right.
Are you worried about inflation eroding your savings?
Yeah.
Concerned about stock market volatility? Or perhaps seeking that extra layer of asset protection we talked about?
That makes a lot of sense. Once you have a clear why, the how becomes a lot easier to figure out.
Precisely. Once you've identified your primary motivation, you can start researching reputable gold IRA providers who align with your specific needs. This is where all those factors we discussed come into play. Reputation, transparency, custodianship, educational support.
Right.
Take your time, compare different providers, ask tough questions, and make sure you feel comfortable and confident with your choice.
It's like finding a doctor or a lawyer, you know? You want someone you can trust.
Right.
And who understands your unique situation.
Exactly.
But let's be realistic. A lot of people get overwhelmed by financial decisions.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to get bogged down in the details and feel paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake. What advice would you give to someone who's feeling that way?
I completely understand that feeling.
Yeah.
It's natural to feel overwhelmed when faced with complex financial decisions.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to something as important as your retirement savings.
Right.
My advice would be to break the process down into smaller, manageable steps. Start by educating yourself, read articles, watch videos, listen to podcasts like this one.
Hey, that's us. Glad we could be a helpful resource.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to seek guidance from a financial advisor who specializes in retirement planning. They can provide personalized advice based on your individual circumstances and help you create a plan that aligns with your goals and risk tolerance.
It's like having a co-pilot on your financial journey.
Yeah.
Someone to help you navigate the complexities and avoid potential pitfalls.
Exactly.
But here's a question that's been on my mind. What if, instead of viewing retirement as this endpoint this time, to just sit back and relax, we saw it as a new beginning?
Oh, I like that.
A chance for continued growth and exploration, even financial empowerment.
I love that reframing. Retirement doesn't have to be about simply withdrawing from the world. It can be a time to pursue passions, explore new ventures, and even make a difference in the world. All while knowing that your financial foundation is solid and secure.
And a gold IRA, if it aligns with your overall strategy, could be one piece of that foundation, providing a sense of security and stability as you embark on this new chapter.
Exactly. It's about having the confidence and peace of mind to pursue your dreams and live life to the fullest. Knowing that you've taken steps to protect your financial well-being.
Well said. And on that inspiring note,
Yeah.
we'll wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive. Thank you for joining us
Yes, thank you.
on this journey into the world of gold IRAs and offshore asset protection.
It's been fun.
Remember, knowledge is power.
It is.
Especially when it comes to securing your financial future.
Absolutely.
So stay curious, stay informed,
Sweet.
and keep diving deep.